Welcome to video 4.1, everybody. I'm glad you guys already made it this far. This is about the sixth or seventh video that I've made part of the series, including the bonus videos. So this is kind of I shouldn't say a milestone. 7 videos really doesn't sound like a lot, but it can be. It should be. Let's get back into what we're actually doing here, and this is video 4.1, where we are going to be utilizing the unordered and ordered lists that we learned previously to create ourselves a recipe. Now, the first step we should probably take is actually creating our file. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to right click new file, and we're going to call it recipe.html. And I'm assuming you already have your Atom editor open. If you don't, you probably should. Once we got that file created and loaded up, we're going to utilize our HTML snippet, and we're going to say it's created by moi or by toi. File summary shall be, I don't know, simple recipe. This recipe I actually grabbed off of allrecipes.com. It's called Quick Beef Stir Fry. I will post a link to it in the description below if you would like to, I don't know, maybe try making it yourself one day. I'm going to change the file summary to simple beef. You know what? The file summary will just be recipe project file. And our title will be quick beef stir fry. Typically, when we start a new project, we want to ask ourselves a couple of questions to help us break down what we're trying to do so that it's easier for us to translate that into code and for us to get to the outcome of our project in a more efficient way. In our example, a recipe is pretty much made up of 3 different components. We have the header part, which pretty much contains the title, the author, some subtitle information like some statistics, perhaps cooking time, calories, etc. And then we have the second part, which is the ingredients, what the person needs in terms of ingredients to make this recipe. And the last part is the directions, what steps the person needs to take or to make in order to create the food item or items or whatever they're making, right? So let's create our header, the first part. How do we go about doing that? Well, let's just create something simple like an h2 tag. And we'll close that h2. And then we'll have some subtitle information. So we'll have I guess we'll have like an h4 for our author. So we'll say created by, I guess I should fill in the h2. That might have been a good idea. Created by, well, I'm gonna just say recipe by, just because that's how they label it on allrecipes.com. And I'm gonna give credit where credit is due to Inez Gosner. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Not like you're probably ever gonna see this video because you're too busy making quick beef stir fry. In our H2, I forgot to fill this out, but you know. Quick beef stir fry. That's just the title of the recipe. So we have our title, we have our subtitle, and now we're gonna have a little bit of tidbits. I think I have here cooking times, serving sizes, or how many servings it produces, and calories. So we're gonna make a couple of p tags here. I'm gonna make one, and then I'm gonna copy the other 3 because they're gonna be within the same structure. And what we're going to do here is we're in our p tag, we're going to have a bold tag to bold the, I guess you could say, subheader, or I don't really know what you would call this to be grammatically correct. I don't know what you would call it. But we're just going to say cooking time here with a colon space. We'll do the space after the bold space, and then we'll put in 25 minutes. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and paste it 2 more times because we'll replace cooking time with serving size, or servings, I should say, and that's 4, and calories, which is 267. Not too bad for, I don't know, is that per serving? I don't know, that's whatever. See, now I'm just way too interested in the actual recipe, and that's not good, because now I'm going to go ahead and make it after this video. So there we go. We got our basic forefront header. I mean, it's pretty rough, but when we get around to styling, this is probably the best we could do with just raw HTML. And you'll take a look at the output later when we're finished coding the whole thing, and you'll notice it actually doesn't look that bad. But it could look prettier. We could throw in some glitter and whatnot. Moving on though, the second part of a recipe is the ingredients, right? We have to know, we have to tell our user, our cooker, our cook, what ingredients they need to make quick beef stir fry. And for that, we're going to utilize ourselves with the unordered list element. And to declare that, or to use that, we just use left arrow bracket, UL, right arrow bracket, and close that with the same closing statement. How do we, so this just defines the grouping element. Essentially, we were going to talk about grouping elements in video 4, and technically lists is a form of element grouping. The UL tag groups list item tags, and list item tags is how we defined the different items in the list. I mean, if you want to be obvious about it. So to define a list item, we just go left arrow bracket, LI, right arrow bracket, and we close it the exact same way. And we can have as many of these the LIs inside of our ULs, as many as we would like. So I believe here, I think we don't need to throw in comments. This is pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to go back up here actually, just for the sake of being consistent with previous videos. We're going to say recipe header. And over here, we're going to say that we're defining the recipe ingredients. I have these there's about 9 ingredients. I have these ingredients already out of their cage. I'm actually going to replace this with that. So now I just have plain text right here. If you guys want to go ahead and pause the video, actually don't pause it now because I don't have my LIs in here. What I'm going to do is utilize the multiple cursor and we're just going to throw in some backslashes on these bad boys. Now, I don't know if there was a more efficient way to do that in Atom, but that's the way I did it. So you can do it whatever way you want to. If you want to type out LI, 2 tablespoons, vegetable oil, close LI, and do that for each one, go right ahead. I do advise you, though, to pause the video and copy this out, or load up the link in the description and copy it from their website. It's pretty copy friendly. It's not going to give you some weird results. It should put it into a list form or whatever. So now we have our recipe ingredients. I'm going to indent this just because it looks weird off to the side. It's being a hipster. And then we're going to define our third part of the recipe, which is the directions. What steps our cook needs to take to make quick beef stir fry. And to do that, we're going to use an ordered list, because ordered list, this is in order. If they do step 5, they can't necessarily do step 5 before step 1, because you might need to utilize 1, 2, and 3 to get to step 5. To define an ordered list, it's similar to the unordered list. The only thing we change is instead of UL, it's OL. And we close that exact same way. And visually, there is a difference between the two. UL list items will be prefixed with they'll be bulleted with round bullets, and ordered list items will be numerically incremented. They'll be prefixed with numbers that are numerically incremented. So step 1, step 2, step 3. You can have it so the ordered list is going from step A to step B to step C, but that is utilizing attributes within the tags, and that'll be, I believe, next video or 2 videos from now. Just keep an eye out for it, and we'll come back to it. So there are about a couple, I think 6 steps, we need to give our cook in order to make this awesome stir fry. I'm gonna just copy and paste these over from allrecipes.com. So our first direction is heat vegetable oil in a large wok, blah blah blah. Cook and stir beef until brown, 3 to 4 minutes. Perfect, beautiful. And now we'll create our next one. I've never really thought about this. Yes, we can. I don't know why I've been typing out LI this whole time. We can utilize the snippet that Adam has for list items, and we can just press tab. I don't know why I've been doing it the manual way. Mind you though, doing it the manual way is a good way to practice and get it embedded within your brain. But it can become tedious if you're doing it multiple times. Now granted, it's not really the content of this project file that we're worried about. It's just how we're going to display it, and it's applying the concepts of how to think when we start a project, what questions to ask ourselves, and pretty much getting ourselves into the routine of breaking down an idea into ways that we can code it. It's no less than an architect thinking of, okay, this is the idea that we have for a building, this is our model and stuff, but how do we draw it out? How do we make the blueprints? You know, where's everything gonna go, and how are we gonna do this and that? And that's essentially what we're doing here, because a lot of the time we'll be given if it depends on what kind of field you're getting into. There are some times where you have to work with a web designer, and that web designer they'll come up with a design, and they'll be like, here you go, have at it. And you have to really look at that design and find ways, okay, I'm going to use an order list here, UL here, I'm going to break that into a grouping element, I'm going to make this an H3 or H4, and you'll literally have a lot of fucking notes on your paper. There's a lot of stuff you do before you even get into the editor. That's why it's always a good idea to just simply ask yourselves these questions in your mind and get your ideas and thoughts flowing, and plan out what you're going to do before you actually hop in. Now that we have all of our directions here, this is pretty much it. We're pretty much done. I'm just going to throw in another comment here just to be, like I said previously, consistent. Perfect. We're going to save this, and we are going to open it in our browser. And if I drag this over, as you can see here, we have our beautiful recipe. We do indeed have our title, our recipe name, who it's by, cooking time, servings, calories, and these are bolded. And then we have our first list, our unordered list, and our list items here. And then we have our ordered list, which is in numerical incrementations. They're in numerical steps. This is really what I'm trying to get at. It's not too bad. It doesn't actually look terrible. With a little bit of styling, it could look better. A little bit of color, sure. But for a simple way to just store your recipes, it really isn't that bad. It's legible, it's readable, it's understandable, and simply that is all we really need. We have our structure laid out in the best way possible. We could throw in some semantics in there if we really wanted to. We could emphasize who the author was. I mean, those are heading elements, so those are already semantic. We could make cooking time and servings and calories. We could make that semantic, but really it's not that too relevant to the recipe. They're little tidbits, but they're not that important. We could do without them. We could just have the recipe on its own. But no, I think this is perfect. This is a good start to our recipe project file. And that's about it. If you guys have any questions on unordered lists or ordered lists, please feel free to comment below, or hit me up on that feedback form, or just direct message me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again for watching this video, guys, and I hope to see you in the next video where we take a look at descriptive lists and make ourselves a hypothetical menu for our hypothetical restaurant. Take care. See you later. Peace.